This clout shit, for one, discussing clout. I already got clout. I got caught off being a real bitch to motherfuckers that just probably didn't deserve it for real. That's that. Damn. So I don't need no more clout. Why? Because for one, it's like this. Chrisean, where you up at with me is that you think your shit don't stink. And that's just period point blank. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this live and I'm gonna put it to my story so there ain't no if and buts or receiving and send this shit directly to you. So it's like everybody got a long listed line of shit when it comes to motherfuckers. What I'm not about to do is go in circles and play games with tit for tat shit. So on Instagram, that's why this weird as fuck to me. But when you, Chrisean, try to act like motherfuckers speaking on shit that's unsolicited, motherfuckers care because I was right there when this shit blew the fuck up. Are you delusional? That's what I want.
It's crazy. My son ain't got no parent at 4 in the morning. Nobody want to watch him. She got Marsh.
Oh my God.
She got Marsh watching the baby at 4 in the morning so she could what? Get some dick. Do a verse, nigga. Let me get in here, bro. All this so you could do a verse, suck some dick. You are both bitch. My son ain't got no parent. 4 in the morning. Stopping us. Cause she wanna be a bad parent to a bad parent. She wanna be a yes. Close door, yeah, close the door. Let's go, Marsh. You gonna get your ass whipped soon as we get there. Come on. Jaden got a good fade waiting for you, Marsh. Let's go. I can't do it. Jaden got a fade like Tessa. Come on, girl. Let's go. Either you gonna get out, I'm gonna drag you out, Marsh. I'm finna put this baby down and put you to bed. All right.
The internet woke up shocked after Marsh unloaded a brutal truth bomb on CroN. And trust me, nobody saw this one coming. For years, Marsh has been the quiet, loyal friend in CroN's chaotic universe, the one picking up the pieces every time the drama exploded. But after being accused of being a fake friend, Marsh finally snapped, and what she revealed about CroN's behavior, her finances, and even her parenting has the whole internet choosing sides. From leaked messages to accusations of fraud, to long-buried stories about what really happened with Junior, this fallout isn't just messy. It's the craziest plot twist this friend group has ever had. The drama detonated the moment CroN opened her mouth and called Marsh a fake friend. And honestly, the internet could hear the record scratch from miles away. Fake. Marsh. The same Marsh who has practically broken her back, holding CroN's entire life together. As soon as that accusation dropped, Marsh didn't just clap back. She unleashed years of bottled-up truth that hit harder than anything CroN's ever fumbled. Marsh fired off with zero hesitation, calling out CroN for spiraling into a sloppy, drunken mess behind the scenes while pretending online that she's in control. She exposed the fact that CroN is so broke, she's scrambling for money in ways nobody expected, hinting at bank fraud, bounce checks, and late-night desperation plays that would make anyone question how bad things really are. And Marsh didn't stop there. She dragged out the receipts about Junior, revealing how CroN has been obsessively trying to convince the internet he doesn't have disabilities, even coaching photos and videos just to keep the narrative shiny. The irony is brutal. CroN, who barely has a stable circle left, had the nerve to turn on the one person who's been steady, sober, and present while everyone else walked away. The betrayal hit so hard that even people who don't like Marsh had to pause. CroN thought she was lighting a spark, but Marsh turned around and dropped a full-blown explosion. And from that moment, the whole situation shifted into something way bigger, way messier, and way more telling than anything CroN expected when she tried to throw that first shot. When Marsh finally opened her mouth, she didn't just defend herself. She dumped a whole archive of receipts that instantly shifted the narrative. The first bomb she dropped was about CroN being a full-on drunk mess behind closed doors. According to Marsh, the version of CroN people see online, the girl who tries to play it cool, play it spiritual, act like she's rebranding, is nothing like the reality she's been cleaning up for months. Marsh claimed CroN was constantly stumbling around, forgetting basic responsibilities, showing up late, slurring her words, and then tried to erase it all by going live with a ring light and a rehearsed smile. And the worst part? Marsh said she was the one who had to keep covering for the behavior, checking on Junior, adjusting schedules, and smoothing over situations that would have completely embarrassed CroN if the public had ever seen the unfiltered version. But the second allegation hit even harder, the money problems. Marsh revealed that CroN isn't just broke. She's scrambling in ways that make people wonder how bad things have gotten. According to her, CroN has been bouncing from one quick money plan to the next, with rumors swirling that she's involved in bank fraud just to stay afloat. Marsh claimed that CroN has been linking with people who specialize in cashing fake checks, using her celebrity name to get them cleared, and begging for advances she never pays back. It's the kind of mess you only hear about when someone is really desperate, the type of behavior that makes people go, "Oh, this is way deeper than drama. This is survival mode." But the most jaw-dropping revelation Marsh exposed centered around Junior. And this is where people really started side-eyeing CroN. Marsh said CroN has been obsessively trying to manipulate the public's perception of her son's health. She claimed CroN spends hours scrolling Reddit, watching every comment, and then staging photos and videos to make Junior look like he's hitting milestones he's not actually hitting yet. According to Marsh, CroN would literally plan content around shutting down rumors. If people said Junior couldn't walk, she'd pose him in a walker. If people said he couldn't hold himself up, she'd angle the camera to hide the support. All because she didn't want to face people saying her drinking might have affected him. Marsh described it as unhealthy, delusional, and honestly sad, a mom more worried about optics than getting her child the help he needs. Each of Marsh's accusations didn't just add drama. They painted a picture of a woman spiraling in every area of her life while attacking the one person still trying to keep her afloat. And once those receipts hit the internet, the momentum shifted instantly. People weren't just shocked. They were reevaluating everything they ever thought they knew about CroN. To really understand why Marsh finally snapped, you have to rewind through years of chaos she never asked for but somehow became responsible for. While everyone online only saw the flashy friendships, matching selfies, and loud reunions, Marsh was quietly doing the emotional heavy lifting in the background, the kind of invisible labor that never gets posted but ends up defining a relationship. When CroN got locked up and the world suddenly realized Junior had nowhere to go, it wasn't CroN's family stepping up, and it definitely wasn't Blueface's side of the tree offering help. It was Marsh, almost by default, stepping in as if she were the built-in emergency parent. She became the one waking up for late-night feedings, figuring out medical routines, juggling appointments, and managing a little boy with real needs while still raising her own child. Nobody paid her, nobody helped her, and nobody even said thank you, except people online who assumed she was just babysitting, when in reality, she was carrying an entire household on her back. And then there was the night everything hit a different level of insanity. The night Blueface showed up at 4 a.m. like a storm with a camera and an attitude. Marsh was literally sitting there with Junior, doing CroN a favor she didn't owe her, when Blueface barged in, screaming, accusing, twisting the whole situation into some delusional storyline. Marsh tried to stay calm and protect the baby, but it didn't matter. He pushed her, grabbed her, and ended up leaving her bruised and shaken while blasting the whole incident on his IG stories as if it were entertainment. She got publicly humiliated, physically hurt, and emotionally dragged in a mess that wasn't even hers. All because she was trying to help a friend who wasn't even present to defend her. And after all of that, Marsh still stayed loyal, still showed up, still put Junior first, even when CroN didn't. So when CroN had the nerve to turn around and call her a fake friend, it wasn't just another petty insult. It was the final slap to someone who has given more grace, more time, and more energy than anyone should ever have to. Marsh didn't explode out of nowhere. She erupted because years of silence, sacrifice, and trauma finally collided with one reckless accusation. And once people saw the history behind it, the sympathy for Marsh didn't just grow, it became undeniable. The whole situation flipped on its head the moment those leaked text messages hit the internet, because suddenly people weren't guessing anymore. They were reading Marsh's raw, unfiltered frustration in her own words. The texts weren't polished, they weren't cute, and they weren't written for sympathy. They were the kind of panicked, exhausted messages you send when you're drowning and no one is listening. In them, Marsh laid out exactly how alone she had been while caring for Junior. No money showing up like promised, no supplies, no clothes, no medical support, nothing except a baby with real needs and a mother who was locked up but still calling to bark orders. She talked about running out of formula, about borrowing blankets, about using her own rent money just to make sure Junior didn't go without. She even mentioned how scared she was when Junior kept spitting up and she couldn't get CroN to take his health seriously, even as she tried to schedule doctor visits on her own. What made the messages hit even harder was the follow-up. Marsh's sister jumping in to confirm everything publicly. She didn't sugarcoat a thing. She went online and basically said, "Yes, this is real, and if Marsh doesn't speak up, I will." Her tone wasn't messy for fun. It was protective, like someone who's watched their sibling carry too much for too long. She called out the lies, called out the deflection, and made it clear that she was tired of seeing Marsh's reputation dragged through the mud by someone who hadn't lifted a finger to help. That confirmation was the turning point, because it wasn't just gossip anymore. It was an inside perspective backing up Marsh's reality with the kind of conviction you can't fake. Once the messages circulated, the internet turned into a full-blown courtroom, and the verdict came fast. Most people sided with Marsh. Viewers were piecing together clips, old posts, live streams, and timelines, suddenly realizing that Marsh had been quietly carrying CroN's weight for months, maybe years, without ever bragging about it. Comment sections filled up with people saying they had always noticed how Marsh seemed to be the one doing the real work while CroN performed for the camera. Others brought up old moments where Marsh looked stressed or exhausted while everyone else was partying, moments that suddenly made a lot more sense in context. Fan discussions exploded with comparisons, pointing out how the public version of events never matched the private struggles that were now being exposed. Some said CroN treated loyalty like a disposable prop, using people when things got rough and blaming them when things went wrong. Others said it was wild that Marsh, the quiet one, the loyal one, the one who never asked for clout, was the one being labeled fake by someone whose chaos left a trail everywhere she went. The theme became impossible to ignore. The real story hadn't been happening online. It had been happening in silence, behind closed doors, in all the moments nobody bothered to ask Marsh how she was doing. But if there was one moment that cemented the public's sympathy for Marsh, it was the infamous 4 a.m. incident. The night everything spiraled from stressful to genuinely disturbing. According to the narrative that spread, Marsh was at CroN's house watching Junior, exhausted but committed, covering for a friend who had disappeared into the night. That's when Blueface barged in like a storm, furious, filming everything, accusing Marsh of hiding things, accusing CroN of being with someone else, and dragging Marsh into accusations she had nothing to do with. He snatched Junior up, screamed over her, and cornered her while the camera kept rolling. The part that stuck with people wasn't just the shouting. It was the moment Marsh tried to protect the baby, stepping between chaos and a child who didn't deserve it, only to get shoved, grabbed, and left physically shaken. Viewers couldn't get over how quickly the situation escalated, how fast Marsh went from caregiver to target, and how the whole thing was blasted online while she stood there with bruises forming and eyes wide in shock. And the worst part? CroN wasn't even there. It was Marsh who paid the price for the mess surrounding her. That night became the emotional core of the entire storyline. The moment people realized Marsh hadn't just been loyal, she had been loyal to the point of endangering her own safety. It was the moment everything clicked. The exhaustion in her text, the bitterness in her clapback, the years of swallowing her feelings just to keep the peace. And once the audience saw that, there was no going back. They weren't just hooked, they were invested. And that's when things got dark. While Marsh was quietly holding everything together, the streets started whispering about her best friend, Chrisean Nash, once the wild, unstoppable star of the hit reality show Baddies of the Bay. But the fame didn't last. The bookings slowed. The sponsors backed out. And it girl shine? It started flickering like a dying light bulb. And then came the rumors. Bank fraud. Chargebacks. Loans disappearing faster than they were approved. Was any of it ever proven? No. But in their world, you don't need evidence. Just screenshots with bad lighting and a caption that says, "Y'all ain't ready for this tea." And suddenly, the fall of Chrisean Nash didn't look like an accident. It looked like consequences. Add to that her dramatic exit from Baddies. Not by choice, but because production was going in a different direction. Translation? She was too unpredictable even for a show built on chaos. All of it stacked on Marsh's back. The emotional weight, the financial strain, the feeling that she was raising not just a child, but her best friend too. But here's where the story takes a left turn nobody expected. After all the back and forth, all the subtweets, all the mini meltdowns, Chrisean still showed up at Marsh's movie premiere. Full glam. Front row. Smiling like they hadn't just tried to verbally annihilate each other online 2 days earlier. The fans were confused. Was this loyalty? Manipulation? Blackmail? Clout chasing? Trauma bonding? Comment sections turned into crime scene investigations. Why is she here? Marsh is too forgiving. She must feel bad. Nah, this is weird. But Marsh? She played it cool. A distant hug. A polite smile. A photo that said, "I don't hate you. I just don't trust you." And honestly, that only made the mystery deeper. When you zoom out, this wasn't just a fight. It wasn't even just betrayal. It was years of imbalance finally snapping in half. Marsh had been the caretaker, the fixer, the emotional support system, the one who cleaned up spills she didn't make. Chrisean? She was the storm. And storms never apologize for raining. They just expect you to bring an umbrella. But now, Marsh isn't carrying umbrellas anymore. She isn't patching holes and sinking ships. She isn't this strong friend holding everyone else together. She's choosing herself. And sometimes choosing yourself means letting people fall, even if you love them. So now the real question is, where does this friendship go from here? Is Chrisean going to spiral? Is Marsh finally done for good? Will the leaked messages come back to haunt them both? And how many secrets are still buried? Because the way this saga is unfolding, we're not even close to the final chapter. Comment below. Whose side are you on? Do you think they'll ever repair the friendship? What should Marsh do next? And do y'all think Chrisean is being misunderstood or exposed? Stay tuned, because in this circle, the tea never stops brewing.